Thanks for joining me, Phil.
Thank you for having me.
A life member of the Adelaide Footy Club.
Yeah, no, that happened about a year ago, which was pretty special to me. I mean, when it's your club and you put a lot of time and effort into it, to be recognised that as a life member means maybe you've done a pretty good job, so I was pretty happy with that. Well, I started in football department in January 98, so that's a long time ago. Were you born then?
Yep, I was two months old.
And 2 months old.
So the premiership year.
So I thought, oh, this is pretty good. This must happen every year, and went to a celebration in the middle of the city with 100,000 odd people. And one of my roles then, Bill Sanders said, mate, what we did last year was we took the cup out to all the country regions, so can you coordinate that for us? So then I went on this little tour of South Australia, taking the cup around with 4 or 5 players. So it was a pretty good start.
And who were some of the players you took the cup with?
Darren Jarman came with us, Matthew Robin, Brett James. It was pretty full on those. Sean Wren was one of them. I remember he was just trying to eat in a pub in Ceduna and he had to tell everyone, can you just leave me alone for 1 minute while I eat this schnitzel? So, no, it was good times.
Well, they were eating schnitzels back then?
Yeah, eating schnitzels. I don't think the dietitians were as heavily involved back then.
What other roles did you do throughout your time?
Those first 4 years I was involved in the recruiting, and I suppose you don't really get to see if you've had an impact for 4 or 5 years when those young guys came through. Some of the ones, I remember Brett Burton was one of the ones that came through. We used a first round draft pick on him, and he was a mature age. He hadn't come straight out of the under-18s. Rhett Biglands was another one who came through around that time. But there was a whole host of players. We traded some players back in. Scott Thompson went away to Melbourne, but we traded him back in to come and play for us. So, you know, there's just 3 who sort of form the backbone of a pretty strong squad. Even my role at the moment, whilst I head up the women's program, the last 4 years I've been back involved in the recruiting in the men's program again, which I love. Some people don't love going out, and I think last weekend I was I started at Norwood Oval at 10. I went to Prospect Oval at 12 and I went to Unley Oval at 2 o'clock to watch young under-18 kids. And some people go, how do you get off on doing that? But I don't know, it's just, I suppose it's in my blood that I love watching young guys coming through and trying to predict where they might be able to get to. Now, I must have watched Max Michaeloni play 15 times, and I just fell in love with Max as a player, and I didn't think he'd be as good as he has been straight away, but wow, what a great player he's going to be. And he reminds me so much of Benny Hart, and he's probably going to play, if he keeps going the rate he's going to play 300 games, which is amazing. Even there was one game where I really fell in love with him. He was playing reserves for Norwood against West Adelaide at Richmond Oval, and he only had 12 possessions, but everything he did had AFL quality written all over it. And he's certainly, I haven't seen him play a bad game yet, so credit to him.
Now let's talk about the women's program.
I have really enjoyed the women's program as much as anything because I got put in charge of it and I was able to run my own show and put my stamp on the program. Now, what we were lucky to do is we end up with some pretty good players like yourself, but Chelsea, Erin Phillips and all that, and we were able to put together a really good, strong squad at the start.
Oh, we always hear the story, but can you take us back to the day that Erin actually accepted the offer to come play for the Adelaide Crows?
Yeah, well, it was interesting. Mark Bickley said that, look, on the radio last night, we were speaking to Erin about her basketball career over in the US, and at the end of it, after they stopped being on air, the Crows are coming and you should come and play for the Crows. And she said, yeah, I probably should. I love footy. And then that was enough for me to say, look, I've got to ring her up. So she answered the phone. She was in Phoenix, Arizona, playing for the Dallas, the Dallas Wings, that's right. I thought she would hang up on me because she was such a Port person and she'd already been the ambassador of the Port women's program. I said, we're going to be in and Port Adelaide aren't going to be in for 5 or 6 years. Well, the first thing she said, well, I really love football. And as soon as she said those words, I thought, oh, we're a chance here. So the biggest cost, we didn't have to pay her as much, but we had to pay a fair bit to insure her contract that if she got injured playing for us, the Dallas Wings could have some money and they could go out and buy another player.
And now she's a Hall of Fame.
I was just thinking, she was a pretty good player as a kid. I'd seen her play a couple of times. I thought, wow, she's good. 15 years later, would she still be a good player? Well, she ended up being the best player in the whole damn lot. So, yeah, I quite love the fact that they had a good life anyway, Tracy and Erin and the kids, but I've probably helped change their life even for the better. They're happy here. They They love Adelaide, they got a beautiful house and they got a wonderful family, so I was part of that. How good's that?
And our program has kind of changed into the full-time model.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Any differences?
It's funny you say that because when I started at the Crows in player welfare, all of our men's players all worked and they used to come to training in the evening. About a year in, the people in charge, John Reid, said to me, mate, you need to get all these players to sort of become not full-time workers, maybe part-time, and do some part-time work and then train in the evenings and in the days. So I did that. And then the last years I was in player development, player welfare, mate, you need to get all these players out of full-time work and into full-time footy. So I've seen it happen before. There's some good stuff in it because training and your skills and that go to a whole new level. There's some bad stuff in it too, in that what I noticed in the boys program is when they drop out, all of a sudden, well, what do I do now, sort of thing. So, that's what we've got to be careful. The ones who drop out of our system, we've got to be really helpful to those girls to try and help them get a career outside of footy when that finishes.
Phil, when you reflect back on your time at the football club, what are your fondest memories?
Well, they're all fond memories. The last 10 years have been terrific with you girls and taking, I feel like it's my little baby. I helped birth it and taken it to be a 10-year-old and it's probably time now with Doc and maybe myself soon leaving that, someone else can be the parent of that child beyond now.
Thanks for, I didn't even know what to say, so cute. Sorry. Thanks for joining me, Phil.
Thanks for having me, Ebony, and make sure we get a premiership this year, okay?
Do my best.